Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritually Fucked podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Mulholland. Let's get into the show. What I'm calling in. This is a poetic download of the Spiritually Fucked podcast where your host, Taylor Mulholland, tells you things that would be in her diary. And I want to share what I'm calling in to maybe inspire you to call something else in. Fall is really beautiful to me. It's the harvest season. I fucking love October. I finally actually live somewhere in Colorado where I can see the leaves change. I love October in Arizona. It's where I grew up. I'm obsessed with the desert. It's super healing, but it's really fun to be in an environment that actually changed and there's the smell of harvest in the air. So, what is Taylor Mulholland calling in? Well, I'm calling in structure in my creations, but specifically structure overall. This entire year has been a learning lesson in structure. I mean, I broke my back in November of last year, which is almost coming up into a year. And I am still learning structure in my life, in my creations, in supporting myself financially, and all the things structure in my body, my butt. I am very feminine and flowy and creative, and I love that about me. But putting that into the physical world is definitely one of my biggest lessons. I don't know if any other creatives can relate. It's like we have all these big 5D images and creations and art we want to put in the world, but creating that in a physical, tangible thing has been so hard. So I'm working on calling in structure. And I guess, do you even call in structure or do you create it? So I am creating structure so I can have something and execute it. Because this is the year, well, it's almost over, but maybe next year, I don't know. This is the life where I'm executing things. Even little things like saying, I'm going to eat this for lunch, and then I get to lunchtime, and then I'm so indecisive because I don't know what I want to eat, even though I said I'll eat this thing, and then I'm like second guessing myself. It's like I'm wasting my life living in the indecision. And so I am calling in structure, making a decision, and then booking it. And this came up for me when I was deciding to book a haircut. I usually get my hair cut every 3 to 4 months. It's been 6 months, and my hair is pretty feral right now. I love a good haircut. Hair is an extension of our energy. I think it's really important for my hair, at least, to be perfect. I like a feral look, but I want it to be, you know, perfectly feral. And there's this really big haircut girl in Vegas, and she cuts like Hailey Bieber's hair or whatever. And I'm going to Vegas next week. And my soul felt expansive wanting to get a haircut from this person. And so I made the decision to get a haircut from this person. And then all of a sudden my ego started to get in like, are you sure you want to spend this much money on a haircut? Like, you shouldn't go. It's someone new. It could be really botched. Like, and then I started over analyzing it and started looking at all her stories and finding Reddits and reviews, and I started to second guess myself. And I wasted so much time in that second guessing when I could have just said, I'm going to get a haircut from this person and book it. But as soon as my ego got involved, saying, I'm not deserving of this, a fear of trying something new. And this wasn't like an intuitive, don't do it. This was a ego nagging, because I can tell the difference between the two by now. With all the things I've been through and all the lessons, I can tell the difference now, which is such a gift in indecision. If you are someone who is indecisive, just know that that is a gift and that is an opportunity for you to pause and say, is this coming from my ego or higher self? My higher self wanted the fucking haircut, but my ego tried to make every excuse not to go. And so I finally was like, fuck it, I'm going to book it. If this ends up being the worst decision of my life, so be it. So be it. I made a decision, and I'm putting the energy forward that I am making decisions regardless if how it's going to end up. Like, I am putting the intention and the energy forward into my life that I can make decisions. So I made a decision and I booked the haircut. It's declaring and then following through. I never thought I was one that didn't follow through, but I definitely don't follow through. For others, I do because I respect others' time. I always follow through with others. I do not say one thing to someone and don't follow through with it. Okay, I really try my best to show up for others. But when it comes to showing up for myself, oof, that's a whole nother thing. And I noticed the imbalance I had with that, where I was always showing up for others, but there were parts in my life when I wasn't showing up for myself. And that was having an idea and not following through with it, wanting to do this and not actually doing it. I mean, granted, I said I was going to do a book, so I did a book. I said I was going to do a YouTube, so I did a YouTube. I said I was going to do a podcast, so I did a podcast. So I do follow through with things, but you guys should hear all the other things that I don't follow through with myself. It's like insane. Um, I'm just a very ambitious person. So this year, I'm working on creating structure in my creations and being ambitious for myself and not just ambitious for others. So, what else is Taylor calling in? I'm calling in relationships. Yes, everyone, I'm admitting it. I am calling in relationships that nourish me. And I do have a lot, lot of people I love. I'm so grateful for that. I'm not calling in more, but I'm calling in a deepening in that. And how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to deepen the relationship with myself and embody this work more on the relationship with myself because I do have so many incredible friends that I'm so grateful for, and I want more friends always, right? But I sometimes consume myself with so much of others' external relationships that I avoid the relationship with myself and I start to trust others more than me, or I take other people's advice over mine. And so right now, I am calling in relationships with that main relationship being with myself. Taking myself on dates, treating myself. How can I show up for myself in moments instead of always relying on a friend? We get so used to having Google and ChatGPT highly available for us. So if we have a thought or an idea or a question, we always go to external things that are very helpful and useful. But at what point are you stopping and asking yourself? And that is about developing a relationship with yourself. And also, I don't know, a boyfriend, maybe if that's the time. I've had every psychic I've ever seen tell me he's right around the corner, and then that corner doesn't happen. So I'm going to call that in. I'm going to pick up the line if someone chooses to dial it. I'm going to put it that way, but I'm going to work on the relationship with myself first. Okay, next. Vitality is a big one. And this, you guys, I'm Queen Vitality. My entire life has been dedicated to me taking care of myself, but I'm going deeper. And this has to do with the nourishment piece because I feel I was approaching vitality from a place of aesthetics. Like, I want to be skinny, I want to be toned, I want to have beautiful skin, I want beautiful hair. But where's the part where I want to feel good? Like, I'm 29 and I mean I went through menopause. If you don't know that story, it's not this podcast, but my ovaries failed at 22, so I had to have a rebirth and whatever. And so I've been through phases where I've been very frail and felt like shit, and I know what that feels like. And now I'm at a place where I revived that, but I'm like, wait, how long can this revival last? And so I'm approaching vitality through a youth preserving. Like, I want to preserve my youth as long as I can. Obviously, I want to be beautiful and skinny and toned. Like, I want to look good, but I want to really feel good. And so instead of approaching things from a lack, I want to approach things from a more. Is that the opposite of lack? I want to, or I guess I don't want to, like, I will. I'm going to approach it more from a nourishing. Like, I'm going to nourish myself. Okay? I'm going to nourish myself and go to the gym to become stronger and to eat good because I want to feel good and have good digestion and not try to starve myself. That's definitely was a pattern in the past, just eating really small amounts of food because I don't know, did I not think I was worth it? Did I want to be skinny? Was it a survival mechanism? Was it because we were on food stamps? Like, I don't know. There are so many things like why that could have been the way of the past, but I'm moving out of that. And it's become a habit. I used to live in scarcity. That was my freaking mindset. So everything I'd eat, it had to be really, really small because I had to save and fraction it out so I could have enough. And I don't need to do that anymore. And so I'm stepping into the person who knows that and embodies it. Because it's one thing to know something, but it's another thing to embody it. So I'm embodying vitality. And a part of that piece is teaching my body safety. I've been in some unsafe environments growing up, and it's just taken some time to really constantly remind myself, and to step into this safe space with myself, with others. So, building structure and safety in my body so I can lead with an open heart. That's what I wrote. And that leaves me with the last one: embody an open heart. Like, truly grounded, rooted, and in trust with an open heart. I like to coin myself of living with my heart on my sleeve. But is that just the heart that I want people to see? That could be a poem. How am I truly embodying an open heart? Am I walking around here with an open heart, or am I walking around here with the idea that I'm living with an open heart? But what if I make myself small? Is that still living with an open heart? To me, no. To live with an open heart is to be you. And if you are still keeping yourself small like I have, that to me is not living with an open heart. When you live with an open heart, you embody truth. And that truth can sometimes be loud for others. And sometimes we learn to live small or hide our open heart to make others feel comfortable. And if we are still keeping small, we're not living with an open heart. And I have caught myself living small for the comfort of others. And that's not living with an open heart. That's closing your heart. It's hiding your heart. And that's what I've been doing. So as much as I post poetry and be a big example of love and living with an open heart for everyone, I don't know how truly embodied I was in that. And so I'm really stepping into that. I'm really working on singing from the purest place of my heart. So that's my little diary entry for you. And if I could send you off with anything, it's the question: what are you calling in? It's October. There's equinoxes. There's eclipse. I don't know what those really mean yet. I'm in astrology school. But it's the harvest season. So what are you calling in? What are you harvesting that are going to sprout in the new year, in the next spring? And how are you embodying it? So I want you to call something in and then choose: what do you like when I tell you what to do? I want you to call something in and then find a way you can embody that. So you can clock it in every day, because that's when the true shifts happen, is when you declare something and then you start to take steps into embodying that into your life and showing your brain and your fascia. So it's a mind and body connection. When you declare something with your brain and your voice, and then you do it with your body, you're implementing the fascia and your brain. So do you see how that works? You need to physically do something to embody your next great calling through action. So pick something. You want to live with an open heart? Okay, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to start physically speaking what I feel and my truth, regardless of if that's making someone uncomfortable. Like, I love fucking big. I love really big, okay? If that makes others uncomfortable, then that's on them. But it's not my job to keep them safe. So I'm just going to work on sharing my true feelings as they come up. So it's the mind and body connection and adding the physical action, the tiny little shifts every day. They're really going to add up, people. So pick a goal, a mantra, whatever you want to call it, and then ask yourself, how are you embodying that? Make it fully physical, tangible. That's going to create change. And ask yourself why. When you ask yourself why, you take that why and you run with it, because that's going to be your anchor. You're really going to anchor into why you're doing the thing. And when days you don't want to do the thing or days you don't feel like speaking your truth, you're going to ask yourself why. And it's going to bring you back down, and it's going to push you into that little uncomfortable, or it's going to push you past being uncomfortable, because some change is uncomfortable. But when you know why you're doing it, oof, that's going to bring passion into it, and it's going to bring the bigger picture. Because when you zoom out and you see the big picture of it all, it might just be worth it. And that little uncomfortable shift you don't want to step past might not be that big. It might just be really small. And our mind just makes it so big because it's right in front of us. But when you zoom out and you see it from the outer view, you're like, wait, that is literally not the biggest deal. If I tell that person how I feel right now, it might in this moment, this present moment, feel like the most uncomfortable thing. But if I zoom out and I realize how fucking small, if I zoom out on every single day of my entire life and realize that this tiny little 1 second moment is not that big, it'll make it easier. So, passion, passion, passion. Why are you doing the things you're doing? Why are you listening to my podcast? Maybe you should write a review and tell me if it's a good one. That's one thing I actually have never asked anyone to do, is to write me a review. And I am going to ask you, if you are here and you are listening, I would really, really appreciate a review of how you feel. Of course, I want that review to be good so other people can think that it's good. But if it's really not, like, whatever. Just speak your truth, baby. So I'm going to leave you with that. This was a short podcast today. So maybe go make your own podcast. Go listen to your own thoughts. I'm really into that lately. Listening to your own thoughts instead of always being infiltrated with others. Go do it. And remember that what you're calling in is just a remembrance of who you are. And you're not really calling anything in. You're just remembering the pieces of yourself that you once forgot. How's that for you? Is that deep? That came from the center of my womb. You like that? Yeah, why don't you write that in the review? Okay, anyways, really, really appreciate you being here. I adore you. And I hope you live a great life, truly. I wish a great life on everyone. I'm living a great life right now. And it's going to just keep getting better. And I inspire you to keep getting better and better. Okay, just do it. Remember that quote? Okay. Okay, anyways, goodbye, everyone. Good day. See you later. Farewell. Okay, bye.